Welcome back to another episode of Prime Time. I've got Nick beside me. We've had a big week. We've just come back from the Australian Open. Not a lot of sport going on this week. Albo got booed at the end of the Australian Open. Not good for the Prime Minister.
Poor Albanese. You think the Russian gets cheered, the Italian gets cheered, Australian Prime Minister, Aussies don't like him. They're not having it.
Viciously booed.
But you're right, there's no sport going on right now. The NFL is heading towards the Super Bowl.
So they get the week off.
NBA is heading towards the All-Star break, so, that's kind of the time in the NBA where no one gives a shit at all.
It's just like a lull period with sport right now. And at home, we're all just waiting for the first NRL round in Las Vegas. That's coming up March 2nd, so keep an eye out for that. So let's go straight in to the NRL Rumour Round Up, starting with Jason Taumalolo, maybe on the outer at the North Queensland Cowboys.
Well, if the Bulldogs or the Dragons don't put their names forward to sign him, they're the shittest run clubs in the NRL. I'm very surprised that they want to get rid of Taumalolo. I mean, they stripped him and Chad Townsend of their captaincies, so it does look like he's on the outer. But if you're the Bulldogs, you've got no forwards. Taukei'aho didn't get signed. Pangai Jr.'s gone. Luke Thompson's gone. You need forwards.
Smallest pack that they've had.
They got nothing. And Phil Gould, I understand that you've had a complete changeover from 2021 in terms of the squad. The top 30's completely changed.
Yeah.
But you need to sign some forwards and stop signing utilities because Kurt Mann, Drew Hutchinson, they're not going to cut it.
Speculation started because Jason Taumalolo and Chad Townsend got stripped of their captaincies. He's still contracted till 2027. He signed that record 10-year deal. So I don't know if he will leave the Cowboys. It's speculation on his part, but they're saying he had one of his worst seasons last year stat-wise. He didn't score a try. He was on the nudie run last year. Never scored.
I mean, the team had a shit year as well.
Okay.
So you can't blame it on one player.
I understand, but he's there. He's their impact player. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets picked up by another club for five to 700,000. It'd be a good pickup.
Well, he's not going to earn $1 million. The
Yeah.
Cowboys will have to subsidise whatever the fee is to get back to $1 million. Okay. But going back 10 years ago, whatever it is, 8 years ago at this point.
Worth the $1 million a season?
Was it worth it?
I think so.
They won a competition.
Yeah. And he's a quality front rower.
Made the grand final again
forward
as well.
Okay, what about Ryan Papenhuyzen? Ryan Papenhuyzen has been pretty much cleared to be available for the Melbourne Storm trial coming up in February. He's going to be back on the field. He's back at training.
Hey, that's great news to hear. After snapping his ankle when Asafa Solomona kamikazed himself into his ankle. After coming back off that knee injury as well, it's good to see him back. You wish him the best. Will he last the season though? Look,
he invested in himself. He went out of his own pocket, went to Philadelphia, got himself fixed up, got his ankle fixed up. He's big on the mobility. I think he says he can get back to his best. He's confident. He's got self-confidence to get back to his best footy for Melbourne. I'm keen to see how he goes in this trial. He's going to play potentially this trial against Canterbury on February 15th. So, it's going to be great to see Papenhuyzen back on the field. I want to see him play a full season.
I think they'll just slowly bring him back. He'll probably play 10, 15 minutes in the trial, then play half an hour in the next game. Just build up to round one. Whether he actually plays in round one, who knows? They probably want to just keep him safe.
They're best when he's at fullback, though.
Yeah, I think
best when he's at
they've got
fullback.
that Polynesian kid that they've tried to not replace him with, but they're trying to blood into the team. But ultimately, he's the better player. He's a Clive Churchill medalist. When he's fit and healthy, they'll be a better team.
Now, Jack Wyden has backflipped. Well, Jack Wyden has potentially backflipped on his decision to not represent New South Wales. He wants to go back to rep footy.
Well, the rumour is Jack Wyden's now considering coming out of retirement for rep football, which I'd love to see because New South Wales definitely needed him last year.
They're better when he's in the team. When he's playing centre, when he's playing 5'8", just anywhere on the field.
But I did anticipate this happening, and I do expect it to come through because last year when he pulled out of the Origin side, he said, I don't want to play rep footy, I just want to focus on Canberra. 2 weeks later, he signs with South Sydney. So it's like, well, why would you focus on a team you're leaving? Doesn't make any sense.
Michael Chalmers, the little journo, Channel 9, the Weasel journo.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, he's speculating that there may have been a rift between him and Brad Fittler, and that's the reason why he chose not to play for rep footy, focus on his family, focus on club footy. But now that he's back in Sydney, he's playing alongside Latrell Mitchell, he has that itch to probably play for New South Wales again. They're better with him in the team. It makes sense for the incoming coach to pick him.
Well, I think best 17 going forward is Jack Wyden and Latrell in the centres. Possibly Latrell or Tedesco at fullback. Tommy Turbo pushes to the wing. But again, it's too hard to speculate what's going to happen in 3-4 months from now. So let's just see how he plays at South Sydney first, whether he considers coming out of retirement or not. Because it isn't his choice to get selected. Yeah. It's up to the selectors of the Origin team.
9 times out of 10, he's one of the best players in the league. Let's push over to football. This one caught our eye, Nick. Chelsea female soccer player or football player, female Chelsea soccer, Maria Ramirez
breaks the record, the transfer world record for women's football, €500,000.
That's amazing.
That only falls $221,500,000 short of the men's record, which was Neymar in 2017.
The men's record transfer fee.
Yes.
That's a shame. No, seriously, I know we're all for equal pay. Look what they do. The model they have in tennis. You know, the prize money is the exact same. You win $3.15 million in prize money for the winner of the US Open. So does the female. Well, and why can't we have the same transfer fees in football? What's going on?
Misogynistic football owners, that they trying to campaign that these women don't deserve equal transfer fees. I've had enough, because if you've seen what they've done at the Women's World Cup, they deserve equal transfer fees.
We need to close the gap of the transfer fees.
I mean, but Ramirez, terrific player. She's no Sam Kerr.
No. Imagine what Sam Kerr's transfer fee.
But that's what I'm saying.
The record.
I don't think she's hitting 222 million though.
But why is it lower though? Is it because they don't obviously command that much salary? It's a product of the salary.
I think it's,
when you're paying Neymar 60 million.
I think it's salary combined with revenue that they draw, viewership. That they draw, viewership.
Starting to make sense.
But I mean, it's nice to see that they're going up in the world. They're breaking records. And I think you only can go up from here, so they're just going to keep breaking that record. But I don't know. You don't really hear much about women's transfer news, so it was fun to see this.
Yeah, it was a nice little change of pace. I'd like to see that number increase over time as we progress as a society. Now, going over to the NBA, Magic Johnson and Draymond Green have come out and slammed this 65-game rule, which is now the eligibility for season accolades.
Well, if you want to win the MVP, which Joel Embiid's in contention for now, you have to play at least 75% of the season.
Is it strictly MVP, or is it also Rookie Player of the Year?
I think it's Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. I think it might even go down to scoring title. But for me, I think it makes sense, because you're not the best player, or you're not the most dominant player if you haven't played the majority of the season.
You're the best regular season player.
You got to play the games in the regular season to actually win the award, especially when it's an opinion award on who had the best season.
But there have been seasons where the MVP has been crowned as played under 65 games.
And the NBA is on a big mission right now to reduce load management. They're on a big mission to make sure the best players are playing these games, because you've got players like Kawhi Leonard, LeBron, who are known to sit out random games, which costs the fans and a good experience, and that's what people turn off from the game. So this is another way for them to say, hey, if you want to win these awards, which I know these big players want to do, you have to play at least 65 games.
I think it's somewhat fair, but that may mean you might not see a Joel Embiid or a Nikola Jokic win an MVP award if they're playing lower amount of games and managing their load to go into the playoffs.
Well, the way the criticism has come in now is Magic Johnson and Draymond Green, they've come out and said, well, you're just going to now force injured players to push themselves through these injuries and hurt themselves more, or go out there and put a shit product out there.
Which isn't much player safety.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Well, it doesn't mean that they're not trying to force you to play. It just means that if you want to win these awards, that's the cost of it. And Joel Embiid, he's now missed, I think they're only 50 games through the season, not even yet. And he's already missed about 17 games.
He's holding on for dear life.
Joel Embiid can only miss 5 more games throughout the rest of the regular season if he wants to win the MVP. So if you're a betting man, I think you take Jokic now, because I can anticipate Joel Embiid with his banged up body, he's not going to play he's not going to play the rest of the season, and he's going to miss a hell of a lot more than 5 games.
That's a fair assessment. I guess we'll wait and see. That must have just been instituted this year, 65
it is.
This
is the first year.
So we'll see how it holds up.
Draymond Green, shut up. No one cares about you anymore.
You're not getting MVP.
You're not getting MVP.
Yeah,
You're the only...
But I mean, from a player perspective, he understands. But yeah, maybe if it was coming from Steph Curry, I'd understand.
Steph Curry, LeBron, hey, listen. Draymond Green, stop clotheslining people and shut up.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, going over to the NFL, the Super Bowl is set in stone. Super Bowl Las Vegas is coming up. It's the Kansas City Chiefs versus San Francisco 49ers. It's going to be a big one, okay? But the talk of the town and what's been all over Twitter is the Taylor Swift hate.
I'm half on the bandwagon, half not on the bandwagon.
Look, it started up all season. Everyone's saying the NFL is rigged. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to get there because they keep panning to Taylor Swift in the crowd. The scriptwriters have finished. The Kansas City Chiefs are in there. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift get their fairy tale finish, headed to the Super Bowl. She's on the field. She's kissing him. She's whispering into his ear. She's got the claw around him. Vivalino did the green line theory on Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift as well. But listen, Colin Cowherd. When Colin Cowherd has to come out and defend Taylor Swift, you know that it might not be the right argument. Just because she has dominated coverage, okay? Yes, it may have increased NFL viewership, but it has become increasingly annoying to NFL fans, and all over NFL Twitter, they don't want to see this kind of fake relationship. A lot of people have come out and said this is a objectively fake relationship. She's on the road all the time. She's 34 years old. Okay, they don't see what they see in each other. Regardless, play on. But is it overshadowing the Super Bowl?
It's not overshadowing the Super Bowl because the Super Bowl is still the biggest sporting event in the world, besides maybe the World Cup. But Taylor Swift has overtaken what was maybe a hate for Kansas City. They used to maybe just hate how good they were. Now they just hate them because Taylor Swift's involved. If you looked at all the internet memes going into the Baltimore game,
They wanted Lamar Jackson to be the savior.
they were calling Lamar Jackson Captain America. He's going to save us from Taylor Swift's Super Bowl. Now that's all shifted to Brock Purdy, who's going to stop us from another Kansas City win, and Taylor Swift, hopefully holding the Lombardi.
Well, hopefully the favourites can get it done, the San Francisco 49ers. But look, I will say, right, Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, I feel like it has been a little bit forced.
It's definitely forced. And if you look at the way they always say, Travis Kelce's not going to go to the Grammys and support her because she's got to prepare for this. It's like, yeah, why is this even a news report? Like, guys, relax. And where I stand on this is she's drawn a lot of revenue for the game, which is good. So that means she's obviously been a positive because people are now watching the games more. But where I get annoyed by it is definitely the fanfare and definitely the way Travis Kelce carries himself now.
I just think the whole Taylor Swift fanfare is getting a bit much. There was an article that came out and said she'll sway 1 in 5 females' opinion in the USA on the presidential election.
But that might be true.
No, and people are carrying that. Oh, now there's schools wanting to change their exams that are too close to the Eras Tour in Brisbane, Australia. It's like, let's just take her out. She's not a president. She's not some, Gandhi.
She's not a saint performing miracles.
She's not a saint performing miracles. She's just a singer, okay? Everyone relax. And honestly, she's got a lot of people rooting for the San Francisco 49ers because we don't want to see the kiss on the field next to the Lombardi trophy, let's be honest.
And that's where I fall in. I'm putting my money on San Francisco. I'm hoping that they just pound the football down the middle and just win the game because I can't see another Kansas City win. I'm sick of them. I don't like Travis Kelce. I like Pat Mahomes. And I don't want to see Taylor Swift hold the trophy. It'd be disgusting to see.
Yeah, it's one for the script writers. Yeah. And one to prove that the NFL may be rigged. The NFL may be rigged. But let's go over to our top 5, Nick. This week's top 5 is a bit of a confusing one. This comes off the back of Patrick Mahomes getting a glimpse of his body online. It went viral on Twitter. He's got a dad bod.
He's got a quarterback body.
He's got a quarterback. It's a bit rough around the edges. He's not ripped to shreds like, some of the wide receivers are or some of the running backs are. But look, it was a very ordinary rig. I will say that. So we thought we'd look at the top 5 most ordinary athletic players of all time, or the top 5 most unathletic?
The top 5 most unathletic athletes of all time.
The top 5 most unathletic athletes of all time. Starting with number 5.
John Daly, the golfer, stone cold on the golf course, known for his non-country club-like look. He used to love abusing alcohol, love Coca-Cola, fast food, but goddamn could he play golf. He had one of the greatest swings in golf, one of the most powerful swings in golf. But if you looked at him, he didn't look like an athlete at all.
Well, I'm not an avid golf fan, but you do know. You know your Tiger Woods and you know John Daly because he covers up your screen. And that's the thing. He's a big man but could play golf. You've seen the clips online. He's still going viral on Twitter. He's done a podcast with the Nelk Boys talking about how much he loves Coca-Cola that is. And he just enjoys playing 18 holes. The guy's a freak. He mastered his sport. And it shows you don't have to be in freak physical condition like Tiger Woods to be one of the best golf players of all time.
And golf is a sport where you probably can use a bit of your weight behind your swings, which is what he utilised. But if you looked at him from the mullet to the gut, it's just one of a kind.
Number 4, we're going with Luke Little, darts world champion. Apparently, he's 16 years old.
16 years in dog years.
But he looks 30. He looks 30 years old.
He looks at least 30 with 3 kids.
Yeah.
There's no way this kid's 16 years old. And in terms of dart players, maybe he fits the build.
Darts consistently are known, when they do the Forbes list at the end of the year, the top 10 players of all time, there's always a darts player in there. Okay, that's, accumulating accolades in the darts world. This kid, darts world champion, okay, he's not the youngest to ever do it, but he's close to it. The youngest is 24 years old darts champion. This kid's 16 years old. I know he looks like he's 40 with 3 kids, but one of the most unathletic physiques I've ever seen in my life.
And if you look at the way he throws it, he's just throwing his whole body into it. You can see the flabber on his arms going. I mean, I didn't look like that at 16. I didn't know anyone that looked like that at 16.
No.
But credit to him, he's a great player.
He's an athlete.
Number 3, Nikola Jokic, the reigning finals MVP. I mean, the guy's carrying just a bit too much weight. You look at him running down the court, he's throbbing his body everywhere. He's got too much extra weight to carry. but he's a freak of a player.
It's Serbian Chubb.
It's Serbian Chubb, and look, he's a lazy player, or at least he looks lazy. He looks slow on the court, but somehow he's quick. There's just something that you just can't explain about the way he plays and the way he looks, but it works.
You just know that he's lazy in the gym. You just know he treats the gym like he does a pre-game warm-up. He doesn't want to be in the NBA, and he's just there. This is a job for him. He doesn't want to be in the gym. He doesn't have to look like a physical freak, like a Dwight Howard, like a LeBron James, where you spend $1 million on your body and still be the best center in the game.
It just depends how will he age now, because I think as he gets older, he will have to get into better physical shape. But for the time being, Nicola, enjoy your time off the court. Enjoy the sweets. Enjoy the food. Don't do any cardio. Just keep going.
Number 2, we're going with the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury. This guy, he's rough around the edges, like bitch tits.
He's got love handles,
Yeah.
bitch tits. He's carrying a lot of extra weight. But again, somehow makes it work. He's the greatest heavyweight boxer of the modern era.
Yeah, he's a pure gypsy boxer. He's not shredded. You know what I mean? He's beaten people that are absolutely shredded, like Klitschko, like Deontay Wilder.
Hopefully Usyk coming up.
And he calls out bodybuilding boxers. He calls AJ a bum. He's just a bodybuilder in the ring. He actually shows you can be the best boxer of all time and not have to look like a physical freak that trains. He obviously puts himself through sparring sessions, runs. He can go the 12 rounds. You've seen him do it. But he doesn't have to look like a freak athlete, and that's why he's number 2.
When you do the blind comparisons, Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury, one's in freak physical condition, one's overweight. One looks like he's a supreme athlete, one looks like he just got off the couch. But when it comes to boxing ability, Tyson Fury's the better boxer, and you can't argue it.
You don't have to have the best rig to be the best boxer. Tyson Fury proves it. Andy Ruiz, who beat Anthony Joshua, he looked like
Just got off the couch as well.
the comic book man from The Simpsons.
If you can throw a punch, you're a great boxer.
Yeah. Okay.
And that takes us to number 1, Tom Brady, the NFL GOAT. The classic quarterback body, but somehow his gangly body worked in the NFL. And if you just look at his NFL combine, which went viral so many times, it just makes you uncomfortable.
Very ordinary body. As an athlete, he did a 40-yard dash in 5.17 seconds.
He's slow.
Yeah, you could have done that faster in a wheelchair.
If you just looked at him, he's slow, he's unathletic, he's got uneven body. Yes, every time he ran the ball, it was even slower. You looked at him on the field, if he had to move out of the pocket, it would take him 5 to 10 minutes to just get there. And okay, his one saving grace was that he could throw a ball. And if that's considered athletic, then he's the most athletic player of all time.
I'm not going to say uncoordinated, but a very unathletic body. And also an unathletic face. Not the prettiest footballer of all time as well. But in saying that, he did improve over time. Okay,
Helped.
Botox did help. He became a lovable athlete, and that got him to having kids with a supermodel and being one of the greatest NFL quarterbacks of all time. So kids, you're never ugly or out of shape. You're just broke.
And there's another thing as well, Tom Brady. There's a word that they use to describe him. It's called gangly. When someone's using your athletic ability description as gangly, I'm not imagining you're one of the greatest athletes of all time.
He was definitely had the dad bod quarterback.
Gangly sounds uncoordinated and terrible at what you do. But he's proven that wrong, and he's one of the greatest athletes of all time, Tom Brady.
Well, that's our top 5. Make sure you subscribe to @Kairouz Bros on YouTube and check out our clips on TikTok and Instagram. Kairouz Bros and Jon-Bernard K. They're out weekly. Now, let's go to the UFC, Nick. The UFC 300 main event is set to be announced this week.
Dana White's been teasing it for some time.
Dana and Nina go onto Instagram. They say if this gets 10,000 comments, this post will announce the UFC 300 main event this week, or Dana White gets oiled up. No one wants to see Dana White oiled up and pink again. There was 10,000 comments on Nina's post in about a minute. It was that quick. There was that many comments. Within 15 minutes, there was about 15,000 comments. It blew up. So...
Well, the week's drawing to a close. When's it coming?
We're at Friday right now. When's this announcement coming? Is it coming Sunday night? People are waiting. They're refreshing Dana's feed. Everyone's just waiting for it. What's up, guys? Okay, but we haven't got it yet. So what is this UFC 300 main event going to be?
Well, people have gone back and forth now. I've seen Daniel Cormier talk about it. He's in my camp in saying, please don't put Bilal Lee on. There's no story there. It's not a UFC 300 worthy main event.
It needs to be a super fight. It needs to be something that's going to overshadow the card and really be, in line with other UFC 200 main events, and UFC 100.
Rumours are swirling again now. Conor McGregor, whether he's versing Nate Diaz, whether he's versing Michael Chandler, I think it's going to happen. I think they're announcing McGregor. They're teasing it too much that they need a big comeback. He's their biggest star. When you look at UFC 100 and 200, the way they've aged so well. Yes, 300's got a stacked card of talent, but it just misses that main event piece.
Like you said, Bilal versus Leon isn't going to cut it for 300. Even if it's Drakus Israel Adesanya, I don't think that cuts it because Drakus isn't that big of a star
And he just
yet.
fought.
And he just fought, exactly right. So we need a big surprise. I feel like they're teasing everyone by keeping it in for so long, and it's going to be announced that it's Conor McGregor in the coming week. It's going to be around the corner. I can't think of anything else bigger.
What Conor McGregor opponent do you want? Khabib?
Nah, it'll be Chandler.
Khabib, Nate Diaz, or Chandler?
It'll be Chandler. Otherwise, we get Conor, Nate Diaz 3.
If it was Khabib, Conor, the pay-per-view numbers and records that would set, it'd be absurd.
It would be nice to see, but I don't think Khabib comes back to fight him. But I definitely think it's either going to be a Conor McGregor or a Khabib comeback. Mark my words, it'll happen Sunday night. Mark your calendars. Dana White, Instagram Live, Conor McGregor returns.
Sunday night America or Australia?
Might be Monday night our time. Yeah,
All
I
right,
guess,
so we got to be patient. Australians, be patient.
I guess we'll see. Now, you saw Jon Anik. He apologised for his comments about the MMA community. He was saying he's growing tired of the space.
Well, he's just
because there's a lot of negativity online amongst MMA fans.
It's nice to see that Jon Anik's walked his comments back of calling the MMA world toxic, because really, what is a toxic fan base? And Jon Anik, it's your job. You're making your living off these people.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see him walk his comments back.
I mean, he had a lot of criticism from current fighters. Sean Strickland said, listen, mate, those fighters, these fans are paying you to talk about the sport. And every sport has toxic fans. Whether you're looking at the Philadelphia Eagles fans, I mean, they boo their own team at one stage when we were there. Yeah. And the thing is like, it's across every code, there's going to be toxic fans. And they make the sport. What makes MMA so unique and great is everyone's throwing out criticisms of every fighter online. Twitter is one of the craziest spaces for MMA fans. So I understand what he's trying to say, that it can be getting out of hand. But that's what also adds to the entertainment. At the end of the day, people are punching their face off in the octagon. So I think a little bit of words doesn't hurt online.
And ultimately, you can have a go at the MMA fans, Jon Anik, but it's just showing a nice sign of engagement. They love the sport. They want to have their opinion shared. They want to criticize other people's opinions. It's just an open opinion forum. And if you're going to criticize that and say, oh, keep your opinions to yourself, you're just restricting viewership and interest in the sport.
We love Jon Anik. He's a great man. When you see him, he's very respectful. I understand where his comments are coming from, but in saying that, you also have to engage with these fans because they are the blood of the sport. When they're going nuts, you know, in Las Vegas, and when they're going nuts online, it does add to it and adds to the virality of the sport. The sport's growing, and you're going to have to put up with fans like that.
Now, Jon Anik did say he apologised because his previous comments were made in a highly emotional state.
But upset?
Yeah, but do you think Dana White made him apologise?
No, Dana White doesn't make anyone do anything. He keeps no one on a leash, like you said before. And I just think he saw that it was getting a lot of negative attention, those comments, to the fans. And he walked them back.
Did he say, hey, John, shut the fuck up, go apologise to my lovable and my loyal community. Do not criticise these people because this is what makes the business great.
Nah, I just think like a couple of, not that Jon Anik's a journalist, he works directly with the USA, but a lot of these journalists are out of touch. And if you want the sport to grow, you got to welcome these fans who may have been casual fans that have criticism like they don't want to see Rochelle Pellington in the co-main event. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think that's what it came down to. But again, just let the fans play.
I mean, he had some fighters backing him, some fighters going against him. Ultimately, he apologised and cowered.
Okay, let's go into our head-to-head. We do a head-to-head every week. This week's head-to-head matchup is Logan Paul versus Jake Paul. Which Paul brother would you rather be?
Just go straight to the boxing record. Logan Paul has had 2 official fights. He's 1 win, 1 loss, not including the Mayweather fight, which he also did lose, but it's not on the official record. Jake Paul's boxing record, 9 fights, 8 wins, 1 loss, that 1 loss being Tommy Fury.
Net worth, Logan Paul, $150 million. Jake Paul, $80 million.
So he's nearly double.
Yeah.
Businesses, Logan Paul has Prime, Jake Paul has Bet-R. Which would you rather?
Look, I would rather have Prime. It's more universal. It's worldwide. Bet-R is a betting company in America. Prime is a massive billion-dollar company right now, and they're everywhere.
And at the moment, Prime does look like the more successful company, so I'll give the nod to Prime as well.
Prime, that's Logan Paul KSI, yep.
And then you go to accolades. Logan Paul has been a US champion.
WWE US champion. He's currently a WWE superstar.
He's had multiple nominations for Best Podcast on Impulsive. But if you look at Jake Paul's accolades, they're mostly boxing. Sports Illustrated, 2021 Breakout Boxer, 2022 Viral Moment of the Year in Boxing. So So he's had some boxing accolades.
Hey, Logan Paul had the most viral moment of the year where he clashed with Ricochet in the Royal Rumble. Let's not forget that. That's an accolade as well.
And okay, so this is where I draw the line now. WWE is a fake sport, and I'm not really going to include those
don't know about
accolades.
that.
I'm not going to include those accolades on your resume in comparison to boxing.
As an athlete, I'm taking Jake Paul. He's proven himself in the boxing ring. The guy's a freak athlete. He's committed to the sport, right? Logan Paul is a YouTube boxer. Let's put it that way. He's a 2 fights. I'll fight an exhibition with Mayweather. I think he's a true boxer. They're both freak athletes, but you're talking just boxing and athletic awards and accolades. You got to give it to Jake Paul. But overall, which brother would you rather be? It's Logan Paul, one of the most successful podcasts, massive billion-dollar companies like Prime. Okay, the crypto stuff was stuffed up. Okay, and he's got to pay them back. But business accolades as well. What he's doing with WWE, what he's doing around the world, I'd rather be Logan Paul.
I was going back and forth on this. My mind straight away went to Logan Paul because I think he's a better businessman. But after Dylan Dennis ruined your life on Twitter and brought your wife,
But he got the last laugh. He got the last laugh.
Nah,
of the boxing.
mate, that's just damage. The damage was done to Logan Paul.
Yeah, right.
There's no way I would want to be Logan Paul knowing that my wife has slept with half the people on Twitter.
So you're saying Jake a simp, Logan? Jake's not a simp. Logan's a simp.
I'm taking Jake Paul because he's not a simp. You know,
Okay.
he's got probably a more loyal and less bodied girlfriend than what Logan Paul does. So I'm taking
enough.
Jake Paul.
I would take Logan just on business, Jake on athleticism. But I don't know why you had to bring Nina into this. You're no better than Dylan. No. Okay, let's go over to WWE. No, you did touch on that. CM Punk tears his tricep, puts a massive spanner in the works for WrestleMania plans. What happens now?
Well, I'm saying this is a bit. I think he's still versing Seth Rollins at WrestleMania.
Some people do think it's a work. They're saying because he did wrestle a little bit. He copped a lot of contact from Drew McIntyre with his tricep in a sling. The last time we saw that was Cody Rhodes, who wrestled with a torn pec in a Hell in a Cell against Seth Rollins.
So maybe he wrestles at Mania with a torn tricep, loses the match. I don't know.
Listen, I like to think we're advanced sciences. Aaron Rodgers has come back from an Achilles in record time. You've seen him on the training paddock. Could CM Punk make a miraculous comeback and still verse Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, or is it not meant to be?
If it's an actual torn tricep, he's got no hope of coming back. And that means that they're going to have to pivot now to maybe Drew McIntyre versus Seth. Because Seth Rollins has said, I'm fighting at Mania, no matter what injury he's done to his knee. So then again, Cody Rhodes was it a late call-in to win the Rumble?
No, it wasn't. It's come out and said Cody Rhodes was always set to win the Rumble. Cody Rhodes is going to finish the story. He's going to fight Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. So now what happens with Seth Rollins? It's said to be that the Elimination Chamber will decide who faces Seth Rollins. And I think you're right. I think Drew McIntyre will probably win that. And then they build the rest of the card around there. But with the spanner that is Vince McMahon, everyone's seen the Vince McMahon news. Even Andrew Tate is commenting on the Vince McMahon news. He's saying that, he feels sorry for him. He should be innocent until proven guilty.
That's right. Let's preface this.
Yeah.
Everything against Vince McMahon at the moment is alleged.
Yeah.
It's innocent until proven guilty. So we have to operate as if he's innocent.
He said that the lawsuit brought against him is replete with lies and false allegations, and he intends to fight them. So does John Laurinaitis as well.
Look, I read most of the 67-page document brought against Vince McMahon. It's not looking good.
Sounds pretty rough.
There's some pretty serious allegations.
Sounds like he's into some weird shit. But at the end of the day,
it's alleged.
It's all alleged. You have to let the court process take
And
out. You saw what happened with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. There's been countless examples. But it looks like he's into some weird stuff. There was text messages where he's asking her to do some weird things. It also implicated Brock Lesnar.
Allegedly.
Said Brock Lesnar this woman
she was offered to
potentially trafficked to Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar liked what he saw. Now, this is terrible because that means that they had to pull Brock Lesnar for the Royal Rumble. He wasn't in the Royal Rumble, which means he may not be at WrestleMania. He was scheduled to fight Gunther for the Intercontinental Champion. So now what does Gunther do at WrestleMania? They've brought Bron Breakker in to replace Brock. But again, Vince McMahon still causing dramas for the WWE. Even though he's resigned, it looks like we might not get Brock Lesnar in WWE for a while as well.
I mean, you just got to hope the truth comes out in all this, and whoever's right, the truth gets brought to light. But if Vince McMahon is innocent, does he come back to TKO Group, or is the damage done? He's never coming back.
I think it's trial by media. It's trial by public opinion. Once this is out that your sexual preferences are what they are, and what you've potentially done to women, what you've potentially said to women.
It could be all fake. It could be all lies.
Could be all false as well. But there's just a stigma about it. It's like I don't mean to bring up, but like Paul Kent. Does Fox Sports bring him back on?
They have to.
I mean, they should. If you're proven innocent and there's a lot of false allegations, then he should be be brought on. But as of right now, it seems like all of Twitter and all of the internet wrestling community just does not want to see Vince McMahon again. And he's getting the Chris Benoit treatment on WWE. They've taken down his page on the internet. They're not bringing him up on the broadcast. It's like, how are you going to talk about the WWE without the McMahons?
Well, now, especially because they're owned by TKO, Vince doesn't have the last say, or the family doesn't have the last say. So he could be cancelled from the rest of WWE. So that means no Hall of Fame speech. That means no documentary on Vince McMahon. And as a wrestling fan, selfishly, that's what I want.
I guess we're going to just have to wait and let the court process play out like we have with many other... But look, if it is false allegations, she should be brought to justice. But if Vince McMahon is guilty, he should go to jail.
Hey, that's the way it is. We're
That's
just
the way it
asking
is.
for the truth.
That's just the way it is. I mean, it's a civil lawsuit. She did sign the NDA, but he won't be going to jail. But let's just... but we'll be covering the Vince McMahon allegations all the way for the rest of the year as they become more updated in court. But that's all we have for prime time this evening. Thank you for always tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to @Kairouz Bros. And till next time.